Hello listeners, my name is Charles Scott. The program is called Can We Talk? And we're going to talk today about some of the things that you need to do to prepare you to put a contract in if you're looking to purchase property. I'm here today with my son, Charles Scott Jr.
How you guys doing today?
We're both brokers with Tri-State Realty. Been in business for over 37 years, and we actually do residential and commercial real estate.
Very true.
So if you're looking to get information on buying a house, if you're looking to get information on selling a house, you can give us a call. You can see our number there, and you can talk either to myself or to Charles Scott Jr. Maybe you can expound a little bit on that.
Yes, definitely. You can give us a call or just search online, type in Tri-State Realty, Bridgeport, we'll come right up. But today we're going to talk about what's going on in the industry. A lot of things that happened in the past couple of days. As we know, we saw the Federal Reserve continuing to say that they're going to be increasing interest rates, which does affect things. But like we say to people, that's actually good news for first-time home buyers. As you see in the past couple of years, interest rates have been record low. Actually, the past decade they've been very, very low. And what that causes is, they'll say, is cheaper money. People can get loans easier. That means more competition for the first-time home buyers. We get multiple offers above asking, and that's definitely changing as we see in the last couple of weeks.
Yes, also, the Federal Reserve, what they do is they set interest rates, and they have their finger on the pulse of the economy. Mm-hmm. They go up on the interest rates when they want to slow things down, and they lower the interest rates when they want to speed things up.
Yes.
It's sort of like driving a car and they got their foot on the brake to make sure we don't have an accident.
Exactly, very true.
One of the things is that they meet, it seems like they've been meeting more frequently lately, but normally they meet like every other month, and they decide, whether to go up on the interest rates, leave it the same, or lower the interest rate. And usually they don't come out and tell you what they're going to do.
No, they keep it very, oblivious.
That's right. And they talk with I was always amazed years ago when they said the Federal Reserve, when they talk, they could say one word that could make the stock market go up or down.
Yes, very true.
One word, and they talk very in vague terms.
Yes, definitely.
If you ask them something, they may say, possibly the economy is not going as we want. And, you say to yourself, does that mean they're going to go up on the interest rates? But you don't know.
You don't know. They'll say things like definitely, maybe. They keep it very vague because they don't want to steer the economy one way or the other. They want people to make their own decisions. But what we've seen this past week,
that's what I was going to say.
Very, very unprecedented. They said more pain ahead, which means they're going to be increasing the interest rate, which means there's going to be more of a squeeze on what we see with all the financial products.
Right. When they say pain, it doesn't sound good. But again, all it means is that they are, I would say 9 out of 10 times, plan on going up on the interest rates. They don't say how much they're going to go on.
No.
Well, one of the things that they said that will concern long-term planning is they said that it will be maybe sustained for a while.
Yes.
Because some people are positioned, and when you're in the stock market, you buy on the dip. If the stocks are going up, you might gain in the money you're making. But if they come down, you may buy more stocks.
Exactly.
So what they said is that it may be more prolonged, and when something is prolonged, that means it might take longer for them to come back down. Some people were saying, well, the interest rates are going to go up, and then maybe in 3 or 4 months they'll start lowering the interest rate. But how you read in those one little words is that it might be sustained, meaning, okay, we're going to go up, but we may stay there for a little while, longer than what most people think. So therefore, you've got to plan long term.
Exactly. What they're going to be doing is they're going to be holding those interest rates higher. And some may say we may even be into double digits next year. We'll see. But if you look at the history of the interest rate and how it's been fluctuating, if you look at the 80s and 90s, we were always in the double digits. We were in, the 14s, the 12s. 14. And that was normal for that economy. And it seems to be that we're returning to that because the inflation, as we see, is gone to levels of 8%, 9%. Normal inflation rate for the economy here in the United States is usually 2 or 3%. So you can see we're almost triple that at this point. So the Federal Reserve has to do things that maybe they have not done in the past as far as increases that are more drastic than we're used to.
Now, again, like, we talked about, that's good in the long run for people, especially people that earn low incomes.
Yes.
Why? Because they're the biggest buyers of everything. Most of the people that are in the billionaire status and everything, their shopping is buying a yacht. Their shopping is, spending $200 million, $100 million.
Exactly.
But the average buyer, these are the consumers of the goods, of the
middle class.
Grocery store, going to the grocery store, buying a car. So if interest rates stay high, these are the people who are going to end up spending all the money.
Exactly. Whether it be groceries, gasoline, things that are affected by that.
So you want interest rates to basically, or inflation, you want inflation to come down.
You want that to come down.
Because the inflation is what's hurting everything. Because with inflation, everything you go out there and you buy, it's going to cost you more. So if the interest rates go up, the purpose of all of this is to bring down the inflation.
Yes, to hold on it.
And then what happens is the masses, the people out there, they'll pay less for everything.
Exactly.
I always laugh when they, years ago, or not years ago, even today, instead of going up on the prices, they just give you more. Remember when the box of cornflakes had a lot of cornflakes in it?
They give you less. I've seen recently in the grocery store, the box of cornflakes and Cheerios is so thin, I can't believe you're getting away with it.
So if they go up on the price, they just give you less.
They give you less.
Everything has less in it.
Very true.
So either way, you've got to be able to, weigh that. I saw something that I hadn't seen in a long time. I went to a grocery store. I'm not going to name the grocery store, but I saw everybody walking around with their cell phone with apps on it to figure out the poundage, how much is a pound of this.
Yes.
Everybody was figuring out what the cost was of everything.
Very
because
true.
when they give you the cost, yes, like I said, the price could stay the same. But if you're getting 70% of what you were getting before at the same price, people are actually figuring out, well, how much is it per pound? How much is it per ounce?
Yes.
How much am I getting out of here? And they all had their cell phones out. And, they have the scanners. All the scanners is going to do is tell you how much the item is going to cost.
Correct.
Your cell phone will tell you how much the units are. So if you're getting less and paying the same, you're really not,
not getting ahead at all. The companies, they do that as a subtle way to save their costs. Instead of doing a sticker shock of increasing the price, they may change the packaging. I saw something recently where they changed the bottle shape of I think it was Gatorade or some other company, where you can hold it better. But in reality, there are less ounces inside. And they try to market it that way to make it more of an easier way to digest it.
It's always in for
your best interest.
For your benefit.
Yes, yes.
And the other thing, too, is you're going to see more people couponing.
Yes, very true. Couponing.
Yes, more people are going to be couponing. And one thing I saw the other day is that people that sell coupons to other people, that's a business.
It is very.
I mean, you can order. I was amazed. I said, "Oh, wow! You can order coupons, and this individual can go out and cut all the coupons for you."
They'll cut them out. They'll give you multiple Sunday papers with all the inserts. Probably meet in a parking lot, or they'll ship it to you on Facebook Marketplace.
Ship it out to you. So there's all sorts of things out there that you have to be creative in order to save money as to what's going to happen and what's coming up.
Very true.
Now, all of this affects the real estate industry. Now, there's some relief in store in that there's some more homes that are coming on the market.
Yes, inventory.
So inventory that's a good thing. They're not really building a lot of more houses because the cost of lumber is still up there. But even that's coming down a little bit.
Yes, prices are starting to stabilize somewhat. But as we said before, the fact that these houses were increased over the last few years, let's say 30 to 40%, we're going down 20%, but we're still above 20 of what the average price of a house is. So right now, I'll say the housing market, although not very hot, is still simmering white hot as far as it's cooling down. But we're still seeing, as far as inventory being very short.
And also it's based upon different pockets. Yes. Something that's happening on the East Coast may not be happening in the Midwest. All of the areas are subject to change as to what's happening within those particular areas.
Yes.
So you've got to also evaluate that. if your friend is calling you and your friend is calling you from Mississippi and talking about, oh, what's going on out there, you got to weigh it with what's going on in your area, because things change, and we have a lot of people that are relocating.
Yes, yes. And also, a question I get a lot, people say, oh, rent to own house. I'm seeing, my cousin told me it's very big out there. Your cousin may live in the Midwest, where there's a lot of land, a lot of those houses they built for rent to own. That's the different situation here on the East Coast, especially here in Connecticut. You won't see many rent to own. So every market has its own, pros and cons.
Right. Some people in those areas may want to rent, or the landlords may want to rent versus selling the property, because they may not, number one, have a lot of properties, and if they sell them, then what do?
Yes.
So they may want to rent that particular property out, and you can get an option of where you can buy the property after a while if you rent it.
Yes.
And there's pluses and minuses on that. We'll have to have a show one day.
Yeah, we'll do a rent to own episode.
On the advantages of rent to own, because there's a lot of advantages and a lot of disadvantages.
Yes.
You have to know what you're getting into, and every one of them has a different type of contract. I remember years ago when my father bought his house, they didn't go to a mortgage company back in those days.
Nope.
There was not the mortgage company. You didn't go to the bank. You actually bought the property from the owner, and the way it worked was that you agreed to pay the owner for so many months, so much money, and he would hold on to the deed. He was actually the owner up until you made the last payment to him. Then when you made the last payment to him, he would then sign the deed over to you. There was no foreclosures back then, because if you missed the payments, he just put you out of the house because he still owned the house.
He still had the deed in his hand.
He still had the deed. He never signed the house over to you to begin with. So you were very careful about missing payments back in those days.
Very true.
Because the owner held on to the house until it was completely paid for. Today it's different. Today when you buy a house, you get two things. You get a mortgage and you get a deed. The mortgage says that you own the right to live there as long as you paid the payments. Exactly. If you don't pay the payments, then you could still get evicted. But the deed is in your name right from the beginning.
Correct.
That means your name is
on the deed
at City Hall. So in order for the owner to get it back, he's got to go through the legal process.
Exactly. Now, people may not realize that. People sometimes call us and say, well, how do you know all that information? Everything that is done with real estate is public knowledge as far as the transaction process. When you buy a house, you can easily go to City Hall and see the exact address, the person who owns it, and basically the financials that were involved with that. You can go down to City Hall, it's all recorded. Now it's digital. Before you can actually go and touch the books and go through the pages. But you can easily type in any address and see the owner and see if it was a warranty deed, was it quit claimed, and see exactly the process of that transaction. Some people don't realize that. They think it's private information.
So basically, what you're saying is that anyone can go to City Hall and look up all of the information about their neighbor's house.
Exactly.
You can find out how much they paid for the house. You could find out how many liens they have on there, whether or not they paid their bills and someone put a lien on there, what their taxes are. You can even check to see if they paid the water and sewer bill.
Very true.
You go on there and it tells you, you can check out the water bill, the sewer bill. You can find out who the owners are. A lot of people brag about, this is my house, this is my house. And then when you look, you see it's their house plus 2 or 3 other people.
Exactly. And people may say, why is this public knowledge? It's to protect you. Because in this day and age, we're seeing more and more, I'll say, scams. For example, we saw one recently where a house we have listed in a certain part of Bridgeport, it says that was for rent on Facebook. People are calling to rent the property.
Hey, how about that one?
People are showing up in front of the house calling us saying, okay, I'm here. I'm here to pay the rent. Where are you? I'm like, who are you? And what's happening is people are taking the pictures we took and just put them on Facebook and easily just saying apartment for rent. And the industry we're in, they're going to get phone calls. And unfortunately, people that get scammed, it's hard to get your money back. These people don't live in the same country as us.
That's true. So, I think we had mentioned that briefly last week.
Yes.
But if someone online is posting an apartment for rent, do not go giving out any money up front.
No. Be sure you can get on the phone with them. One thing that's all related to the same things, they only text. They do never pick the phone up. Because they pick the phone up, you'll probably hear they have maybe a deep accent, maybe their English isn't so good. They always text.
There's always 10 people in the background on the phone.
Yes.
All of them are in the background all talking because they all have clients at the same time. And when you ask them, well, where are you at? Where do you live? Then they got to think twice about that because they don't know what to tell you. And you know what I always ask them, I say, well, what time is it? You know what time it is?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
You know, because where I'm at, if it's a 24-hour difference in time, it might be 2 o'clock in the morning wherever they are.
Exactly.
Or it may not be another part of the country. So how are you going to meet me at the house in an hour when you're 1,000 miles away?
Very true. That's a good question. I said, what time is it?
Yeah, what time is it?
I guarantee they'll hesitate every time.
What time? Then they say, oh, what time is it? You know? Because they're always saying, well, you know, send me the money and I'll meet you there in an hour. So if you're on the West Coast and I'm on the East Coast and you're going to meet me there in an hour and you want me to send you a $500 deposit, and you got to have a fast jet to get there.
And what people don't realize with these apps, when you send money to somebody, whether it's Zelle, whether it's Cash App, it does ask you multiple times, do you know who this person is? You never sent them money, because they're not liable. They're treating it as real cash. If you send that money, you can't get it back. You can request it back, but the other person can easily just block you and say, nope, my money now. So be very careful out here.
Yeah, like you said, it's very hard to get that money back once it's gone. Once you push send, it's gone.
Yes.
And you better believe they run and grab it as soon as.
Oh, you know they withdraw it instantly.
Instantly they withdraw it. So you got to be really careful about that. Yes. Because these people and someone like that, they're not doing it to just our particular agency. They may have 50 different houses posted out there.
Just a law of numbers.
And they're taking money in from whoever's willing to give it to them. And a lot of people are desperate.
Yes.
And with the internet now, people are becoming, you know, more and more dependent on the internet.
Yes. For example, people look for apartments online now. There's plenty of apartment websites, multiple. Even Facebook got into apartments. They saw how lucrative it could be. So right now, a few people actually open the paper up and good old classifieds or the apartment section, look for an apartment that way. Who actually reads the paper anymore daily? So you can be very misled by these digital advertisements, because most of the time these apartments are listed for free on these websites. At least with the newspaper, they had to go out and pay the paper and go to an effort of writing an ad. So be very careful when it comes to these internet ads. And
you know what I find is that when people are going on the internet, they're all calling for apartments or calling for anything, they keep no records.
Oh yeah.
In other words, they'll call 25 different places. And when you talk to them, they may say, well, we're calling you about the apartment. And say, which? I don't know. And then they say, well, why did you call this number? And they go, we don't know. We're calling. I just called 25 different people.
Run through 25 numbers, right?
They don't have a clue. So if you're calling up people and if you're inquiring about whether it's a house, apartment, or whatever it may be, keep records. Write down the name of the person you're calling. Write down the phone number,
the address,
and make some notes. Because when you're calling randomly, you don't have a clue as to who you're calling, where you're calling, when you're calling, and it all becomes quite confusing. Not only for you, but for the person that you're calling.
Yes, very true.
Years ago when they had newspapers, guess what? Remember, you open up the newspaper, you circle the ones that you want to go see, and you check off, and then you scratch out the ones you don't.
Cross them off.
So when someone calls you back, you look up their phone number and say, oh yeah, that number, this is the one I was talking about, because you've got it written down right on the paper.
Exactly.
A lot of papers don't even put rental ads or real estate section anymore.
Very true.
And that's a shame. Because where do you get your information from these days? And everybody charges you and everybody sets up their own, and then they charge you a fee for looking.
Very true, because what you're seeing now is not just the internet. You're seeing like ads. I'll see on Instagram, Snapchat. They're actually reaching out to people saying, look, search for apartments here, because these little companies realize there's actually profit in the data. They're collecting your data. They're saying you're looking for an apartment, we'll sell that data to another company that also shows apartments.
Right now, the money is in data. Who can amass the most information and put that information and then sell that particular information. So be very careful of, you know, what you're doing, what you're putting out. Even if you call on like, for example, people that were calling on the phony apartments.
Yes.
Before they get to the end, they've already captured about 25 different items. So where do you live? Where do you work? What's this? And the last thing is, you don't want to give them is, what's your social security number?
Oh, never did that.
You know, what's your date of birth? You know, how many, and they'll say, how many people live in the household? Well, how old are they? What's your date of birth? And then you give that to them. You give them your social security number. You've given them your address. You know, forget about them stealing your identity. You just volunteered everything to them.
Volunteered everything, and they can use that for whatever they want to do. And
they'll sell that. So even if they don't make money on you, sending them money for that particular phone call, they'll call their buddy up and say, hey, I got information on 100 people today. If you give me $5 for each one of those individuals, I'll sell that information to you. So even though you didn't obligate yourself, they've already made money because now they're selling the information that you gave them. So now they're sharing it to their buddy. So
very true.
These are some of the things that we're trying to tell you
and protect you,
that things that are happening out there every day.
Every day we're seeing it, and we're seeing it firsthand, from the scams that people are doing online with these apartments to just in general, as far as the apartment market in general, as far as how hectic it is right now. How
do you avoid all of that? Well, number one, deal with people that you know that have been in business, that are reputable, that have been out there. We've been in business, like I said, for 30-some years.
Very true.
We have solid brick and mortar. We have a location. We know what time it is.
Yeah, we
if
know.
You ask us what time it is.
East Coast time zone.
we can tell you. In other words, you can check us out. You can go and look at a website. You can go on YouTube. We can send you documentation.
Yep, we can send you many proofs. Another thing I tell people is, if you, for example, and we're still on the apartments, if you're looking for an apartment, always search online to see if it's even listed as an apartment on another website. If you only see it on Facebook, there's something going on. It's going to be on other websites. It's got to be. It's going to be on TruliaApartments.com. There's something going on there. Or call a real estate agent and make him verify, see if that apartment really is listed on the MLS.
True, because you can call any real estate agent who's a member of the MLS. He can look it up and see if it's even a property that's listed there, and give you information. It doesn't even have to be the person who lists the property. It could be another agent who knows of that property that can give you information. So you need to do your homework. You need to verify everything so that you're not out there giving away your hard-earned money. Because like I said, the worst part is this: most of them will ask you for a deposit.
Yes.
They know you're not going to come up with $1,000 or $2,000 all at once. So they nibble away. They'll say, "Oh, send me $100 deposit to hold it for you."
Per adult. That's per adult for, deposit. I was looking at application fees.
Right, and then they say, "I'll meet you there." So now they've got that $100 from you. They don't ask you to, and then some of them that really get taken is they say, "Well, I really want this apartment. Can I send you more?" They even volunteer more.
How about the tactic we heard last week, where the woman told us that she was talking to the scammer, where they said, "Oh, there's someone that's coming from Boston today to get into the apartment. If you send your money now, I'll hold it until that person has to come." So that puts you in a moment of pressure. That's what they're trying to do. Get the anxiety up that I may lose this apartment. Let me send as much money as I can to this person, not realizing that person might be in a country 3,000 miles away.
Or next door to you.
Yeah, exactly. I pay the fool that does it locally, but you can be tracked in the United States, but it could be locally too. Very true.
So mainly what we're saying to you is that be careful of what you do. There's a lot of scams that are out there, and people end up losing their hard-earned money. And then what's worse about that is basically in some cases where they actually get your credit card information.
Yes.
You may put it on a credit card or say, "Here's my credit card information." And now your credit's messed up. You go to buy a house, you've got problems.
Exactly. Very true.
So, we're, again, as I said, we're here to help you with information, and we're here to see if there's things that we can do that will put you in a position where you can not only rent but buy a house.
Exactly. That's the goal.
There's another big bombshell, like we say, breaking news that happened this week. and that was the forgiveness of student loan
Oh,
debt.
yes, very true.
That's going to help a lot of people.
Yes.
The president they're in the process of forgiving loans, and also I think it's a Pell.
Was it 10,000 or 20,000, I believe?
10 up to 20,
Up to
and I
20.
think it may even be more depending upon what type of loan you have, and if it's a Pell grant or
Federal
it's a Pell
loans.
loan.
And also on your income too. He's not, if you make over, what is it, 125,
150,000 or
150, yes, or 250 as a couple.
Yep. So basically, that's a lot of people that will come under
Yes.
that. You have to call to get the specific details,
Mm-hmm.
because I think they're still ironing it out, and I know the lines were kind of clogged up because
Yes.
so many people
So many people.
were actually calling, because what happens is that can help you a lot. A lot of people
Yes.
were actually deferring their student loans
Or forbearing also.
or forbearance. Matter of fact, I talked to a person today, and I was asking her about, she called me about buying a house, and she was saying, well, I'm in the process of getting my credit straightened out, and she was at a 648, and I says, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad at
And
all.
she says, well, also, I'm in the process of my student loans, having them
Forbeared.
no,
policy.
eliminated
Oh,
completely.
eliminated. Oh.
Because under the new plan, she's in the threshold, and
Oh.
she makes like $70,000 a year.
So she
she's-
qualifies
She
for it.
qualifies there, and her student loan was like 18,000.
Oh, there we go.
So in a situation like that, depending upon circumstances, she can get the whole loan eliminated.
Forgiven and gone.
Forgiven, gone.
That's amazing.
Gone. No more student loan. And,
That's amazing.
You know, so if you got a $200 payment every month where you're paying a student loan or whatever it may be,
Mm-hmm.
and now all of a sudden it's gone, that's going to tremendously, help her. Not only that, she can take that money and then pay it towards her other bills if
Exactly.
you really have good credit. So that's going to open up a lot of.
And it'll be less debt on her profile as far as when she applies for a mortgage.
Exactly. So today we talked about different things, but hopefully the things that we did talk about
Yes.
would help you out there today, because there's a lot of things happening, such as the interest rate going up, the forgiveness of student loans. Every week there's something else that
There's always
gives us
gonna be,
something.
and the thing is, you don't have to pay attention to it. We're going to pay attention to it. We're going to summarize it, and always tune in every Monday. Definitely.
Exactly. So till next week, God bless.
Amen.